Before we get started with the video, I just wanted to ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell, like and share the video, and leave a comment down below. Please do, by the way, because I actually do respond to all of those myself. Don't forget to check me out on Twitch and join the Discord where you can voice chat with me while I live stream, and you won't be recorded or anything on YouTube and Twitch, so that's pretty cool. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. If you like to read, you can see my after-action reports on my blog. And if you are interested, you can get some merch from my spring store. The links for everything are in the description below. Hello, everyone. In the MCU, we have seen the Norse gods fight alongside the heroes of Earth to defend humanity from the forces of evil. And as the movies and television shows have moved forward, we've begun to see them open up and reveal more comic book characters that are mythological in nature. Today, we are going to be talking about the Marvel Comics Egyptian gods and their entry into the MCU. I'm Mike, and this is Mike's After Action Reviews, and today we are doing the After Action Review for Marvel's Moon Knight. So, as always, guys, we're going to start with the show's production. This show has one production company, and that was Marvel Studios, which is most well known for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in 2022, and Spider-Man No Way Home is its most recent film other than Doctor Strange, and that was in 2021. Now, I do want to just let you guys know, because I've realized this as I was editing some of these videos, these are according to IMDb. So if you do know Marvel Studios for other things, or think that they're more well-known for other things than what I mention here, go argue with IMDb about it. Because sometimes I do find that they're not the most accurate, when judging. They say that Benedict Cumberbatch is most well-known for Imitation Game, but I'm pretty sure that everybody knows him just as Doctor Strange. The show was written by Daniel Iman, whose writing career actually started in 2022. He is most well known for some episodes, well, actually one episode from the Riverdale series, which has gone from 2021 to 2022. He also most recently did Caught in His Web, which was a TV movie released earlier this year in 2022. The series had three directors. Mohamed Diab. He directed 4 episodes, and he only has 4 directorial credits, including this show, with Clash from 2016 being his most well-known work, and Amira from 2021 being his most recent. Justin Benson directed 2 episodes. He is most well known for The Endless in 2017 and Something in the Dirt in 2022, both of which he both acted and directed. He acted in both of those movies and then also directed both of the films alongside of Aaron Moorhead, who also is most well known for Endless in 2017 and Something in the Dirt being the most recent work in 2022, who he also acted in them and helped direct them. The music was by Hisham Nazih. I believe that's how you pronounce it, Nazih, from most well known for Pharaoh's Golden Parade, which was a TV special in 2021, and The Knower is his most recent work, also in 2021. So as you can kind of see, we have kind of a, like with 4 directorial credits for the director, 2 directors that have basically done not very much, 2 other directors anyway, who have basically done not so much and also acted. And then the writer is brand new, only writing for basically a few things, a TV movie, and Riverdale, one episode of Riverdale being their most well-known work. it's interesting to see. So when you think moving forward into the review, it's going to be interesting to see how they did related to how new they are. I actually think they did a quite a good job for the experience that they do have. So we're going to move on to the plot then. So the IMDb plot summary reads as follows. Actually, there's two, and I'm going to read both of them because they're both on IMDb, and I'm going to read both of them because they're both important in encompassing parts of the plot here and the story that is told. So, Stephen Grant discovers he's been granted the powers of an Egyptian moon god, but he soon finds out that these newfound powers can be both a blessing and a curse to his troubled life. And then the second one is the series follows Stephen Grant, a mild-mannered gift shop employee who becomes plagued with blackouts and memories of another life. Stephen discovers he has dissociative identity disorder and shares a body with mercenary Mark Spector. As Stephen/Mark's enemies converge upon them, they must navigate their complex identities while thrust into a deadly mystery among the powerful gods of Egypt. So I think that does like a pretty good job of explaining everything from the perspective of, kind of people who know Moon Knight, and you kind of understand like that explains the character of Stephen Grant / Mark Spector and Moon Knight, their character study here. They're at that aspect of it in the show. But I also want to mention, so this is a story, Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, and Khonshu, an ancient Egyptian god. They're trying to prevent a cult from raising an evil Egyptian god that was imprisoned, we'll just say imprisoned by the other Egyptian gods long ago for basically, doing evil. There are lots of great twists and turns and mysteries in this show as far as the plot goes, and I really did enjoy that. That's why I said I think that they actually had a really, really good... This was a really good run for like an amateur team, basically. I mean, amateur team, like, they don't have some great director or writer or anything. So it was really interesting to find out that, after watching the whole thing, that basically this whole production was pretty amateur, which is not an insult at all. I'm very impressed. I do want to say, so for the first two episodes, you're kind of forming your idea of, like, so if you don't know, okay, I just want to say, if you don't know who Moon Knight is, for the first two episodes, you may be a little bit confused. They're kind of explaining a couple of things, and you're not going to know exactly what's going on, but by the end of the third episode, we're like in full swing adventure mode. We've established the characters. We know what's going on. We got the story, and we're going to move forward with everything, moving towards the finale. So just kind of a structure thing. So if you watch like the first or the second episode and don't finish it, you may be like, and you kind of say like, oh, this is confusing, I don't want to watch it. You're going to be missing out. I actually had a friend who watched the first episode, and it's Taylor. If you've seen me do reviews with Taylor, she watched the first episode and said, I didn't care for it so much, I'm not going to watch the rest. And I said, just watch the first three. Once you get to the third one, if you can get to the third one, I'm pretty sure that you're going to be hooked here. One thing that I will say, and which is disappointing, and I think it kind of goes into the writing, again, kind of the writing and just the production in general, nobody looking and going, hey, like, we kind of... maybe we did this in a little bit of a weird way, is that there is a very abrupt and unsatisfying ending, and I'm not going to spoil it or anything, but I do just want to let you know this does kind of just get cut off with a lot of build-up and really good character study and introducing some cool characters and stuff, and then they just end it in a way that I don't think that they quite stuck the landing in the way that everybody would want them to. So... that's my coverage for the plot. So then moving into characters and acting, we have Oscar Isaac, who plays Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, and Moon Knight. Moon Knight, he has the mask on for most of the thing, but basically Mark Spector and Stephen Grant, who are Moon Knight. He's most well known for Ex Machina in 2014, and then most recently did Big Gold Brick in 2022, earlier this year in 2022. Isaac, I think, does a great job at playing all of these different characters that he has to play, and they're all very complex, so it's really cool to see him use different accents, have different ranges of emotion, basically completely different characters. One thing that I do want to mention that I think some comic book people are going to be a little bit disappointed in is that Stephen Grant is an English man who has a British accent, and Mark Spector is an American man. I think they specifically say that he is American. He's an American man. The character is Jewish. Oscar Isaac is not. I only bring that up because there was a little bit of a controversy that we're really not going to get into. But Oscar Isaac is not Jewish, and the director got into some hot water because he was kind of berating some other people for not casting people of their nationality or ethnicity or whatever you want to say. And then he also had Oscar Isaac in his own show who is not Jewish. But anyway, so not going to really get into our feelings about that. But so Oscar Isaac is an American who is Jewish, and then Stephen Grant is British. So you see two different accents played alongside each other a lot. But Stephen Grant is kind of a not so. He's kind of like that dopey character, clumsy, not so confident, like mild, like it says, mild-mannered. And then Mark Spector is like very capable, competent, kind of a badass guy. And in the comic books, Stephen Grant is almost like an Iron Man type guy, where he's confident, he's suave, he has money, he gets women, things like that. And then Mark Spector is kind of like a tough mercenary style guy. Some people are going to be a little bit disappointed in that. I didn't know that going in. I'm not so familiar with this particular comic book character, so it didn't bother me personally a whole lot, but, watch out for that. I do think that the contrast between the two characters, though, was really great to see and done really well in both the writing and with Oscar Isaac at the helm as the actor. They have some very interesting character interactions. There's a lot of conflict because as Steven is like very confused about some of the things going on and he's finding things out, he's like, what the heck is this? Who are you? Oh, what the, and then the way that he wants to go about doing things throughout the series is completely different than the way that, especially with killing people and hurting other people, he doesn't really want to do that. But Mark is this mercenary who's like, I'll kill anybody, I'll do whatever I gotta do. In the end, though, they end up really reconciling with each other, and you get some really, I would almost say like a friendship, but it's with himself. So I guess the reconciliation of who his character is and who he himself is, and you get some really cool endearments. Not just with these two characters, but with other characters. There is a little bit of a love triangle with Layla, another character that we're going to get into here, but that there's some comedy associated with that as well, where you see they switch between bodies. Or not between bodies. They switch between who is controlling the body, which personality is kind of driving the ship. And at one point, Steven kisses Layla because they have this love triangle, and then Mark makes him punch himself in the face. Oh. So it's kind of like, what the heck? And they argue, and there's some pretty cool little character interactions here. If you're interested in that, and that stuff is important to you, I think that you're going to be quite satisfied with that. Mark has many secrets that he even keeps from Steven, and he also, he has some secrets that are personal and related to some of the other characters in the show, including Steven, and so that's really interesting to see. You can kind of get like the sense of him knowing much more than he's letting on, so he's a pretty cool character. They do a little bit of an exploration of psychological trauma here too with Mark and / Steven, whoever this person is or whatever you want to call them, having this multiple personality disorder, and then they even explore each other's memories to kind of get into this trauma and figure out what's bothering Mark, what's bothering Steven, where this all these different problems came from. And I'm talking a lot about Stephen Grant and Mark Spector, and not a whole lot about Moon Knight himself as the suited up character, and that's because there's not enough of Moon Knight in this. My understanding is that there's just a few minutes. I think up to the last episode, the last thing I heard was that there was about 4 minutes of Moon Knight in the whole series, up to the all the way from episode 1 to episode 5. There's probably a few more minutes added on to the final episode, but most of what you see Moon Knight actually do anything is in the finale, which is very disappointing when you have shows like Daredevil, Iron Fist. Those are the Netflix shows, but even Loki and Falcon and the Winter Soldier had a lot more runtime for their actual superheroes, and so that's quite a bit disappointing. I also want to say that Moon Knight and Mark / Steven here kind of get overshadowed quite a bit by other characters here, and I'm not talking about the bad guy, I'm talking about Layla, and we'll kind of get into that. But overshadowed, even in Moon Knight form, where he's supposed to be, kind of the hero here, and that's kind of ruins the experience of introducing a character. I don't think that it's a good idea to introduce a character, and a lot of movies and series are doing this, where they'll have a movie or a series about a character, but most of the title character's own show or series actually is about introducing a side character who takes up most of the screen time and does most of the consequential stuff anyway. That kind of sucks. Overall, though, I think that the character was really great, or the characters that was really great that were played by Oscar Isaac, and this guy, I mean, he what is it, a Grammy? He deserves, for a series, he deserves to get some awards for this. This was really good. Then we have Ethan Hawke, who plays Arthur Harrow. He's most well known from Training Day in 2001 and The Northman in 2022. He does some really great acting. I'm not going to get a whole lot into his character because of spoilers, and I don't want to spoil anything. But he basically plays a mild-mannered man, appearing to have he plays this mild-mannered man. He is the cult leader that wants to raise this evil Egyptian god. He like I said, he's very mild-mannered. He has the appearance of having some great wisdom and maybe knowing many secrets, and he's the kind of guy that you may want to come to for answers for certain things. But he is evil. It seems to be like in one of those situations where he has great conviction that makes him evil, but actually, if it weren't for that conviction, he probably would be like a really sweet, nice guy. But he's completely ruthless and will kill even people who, to normal people would seem innocent, but he thinks that they're not, so that's why he kills them. He controls a large network of cult-like followers, so that kind of plays into, it's one of those situations where the bad guy is able to infiltrate the cops and get information. It's like, how do they do that? This is not one of those where it's just like a thug. No, you're actually dealing with a powerful organization here. So getting into something that I thought was a little bit weird with this character is one thing is, similar to Moon Knight, he has some powers, but we see very little of him actually using them. Because of the amount of screen time Moon Knight actually gets, you don't actually get a lot of the action that you would think that you would get with a series like this. There is an odd scene in the beginning with him where he has glass in his shoes, and I think I'll put it up so you guys can see it. He puts glass in his shoes, and then he puts his shoes on and walks around with glass in his feet, stabbing him in the feet. We never find out why. It's never referenced again. You never see it again. And it's just a really weird scene, considering just that they don't do anything with it. So I was confused by that. But overall, I think that Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaac did a really good job spearheading this thing as far as their acting concerned. Now the writing and stuff may be a different story, and we'll get into that. But then moving on, we have Camalaway. So it's Calamaway. I'm not sure how to pronounce that exactly, and she's not as well known as the other actors, so I haven't seen her in anything. I think that she does great. She's most well known from the series Raimi, which is from 2019 to 2020, and then also did the film Together in 2021. She plays Layla El Fayoly. I think that's how you say it. Okay, they're Egyptian names, and I have a weird last name. I understand how it goes, but it is just odd for me to speak, being English speaking, trying to pronounce these things. Okay, but she plays Layla. She is a controversial character in the end, in that this is the person that I said kind of overshadows everything that's going on with the character that we're introducing. She plays a larger role than would seem appropriate as far as screen time and the things that she does. When you really break it down, though, her biggest contribution, subtracting all of the, like I said, overshadowing the main characters and doing different things, is that she knows a man who has a sarcophagus of Senfu. Now, Senfu is a they explain, there's this whole arc about how Senfu can find he's a guy who was tasked with recording the location of this ancient god that this cult is trying to resurrect. So they go to and they go to this man who has a sarcophagus, and in the sarcophagus they find a tomb or sarcophagus. They find a map to where the bad guys are going to be going, and that's kind of how they go about catching the bad guys. And that's all she does. until so that's like really all she does, but you can really see that they were trying to push this character and like sneak her in here because all of the interactions that they have as far as so for instance, you have Stephen Grant, who is like this incapable kind of klutzy, clumsy guy, but don't worry, Layla's there and she can fight and take care of things. Well, why don't you just have him turn into Moon Knight and then we can get some action here? Then there is some stuff that happens in the finale where it's like, why? Why did you even include this? Why not just have Moon Knight? Like, we're here for Moon Knight. The guy whose name is on the building is Moon Knight. Let us see Moon Knight. Okay, so very competent, very confident, very capable, and does kind of, like I said, overshadow Stephen Grant quite a bit. I don't know what to think about that because they're doing that a lot now. Like I said, even Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, I was disappointed that he was made a side character in his own show or in his own movie. Here you kind of get Moon Knight made a side character in his own series, in that Moon Knight himself doesn't have much screen time, and then Stephen Grant keeps being made to look like an idiot. The times that we do have Mark Spector are pretty cool, and I do enjoy Oscar Isaac as kind of the mercenary badass. Okay, then we have F. Murray Abraham. Now, he's an older actor. He plays Khonshu, the ancient Egyptian god of the moon. He's most well known for the Grand Budapest Hotel from 2014 and the White Lotus series from 2022. I haven't seen either of those, but I do know the actor, and I know that he's pretty good, so I was happy to see that he was the one doing this. I think he has the perfect voice for the character. It's that kind of deep but smooth. He has some wisdom portrayed through the voice, age but not weakness, so I thought that was really good. I want to say it's like a Darth Vader is to Star Wars. Sorry, not Darth Vader. James Earl Jones is to Star Wars and Darth Vader as I think F. Murray Abraham is to Khonshu and now the Moon Knight series. If they replace this guy or change him, they would have to do a really wicked job of being able to basically emulate this, because this character's voice right now is perfect and they need to not change it. So, as I said, he is the Egyptian god of the moon. He punishes those who do evil through his avatar, the Moon Knight. But he is not well liked by the other gods. They basically see him as being a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, and you can definitely see why through the interaction with why some people may not like him, because of his interaction through Mark, where he basically is holding Mark hostage. Mark/Steven, but really it's Mark. He made a deal with Mark, the personality that is Mark within the body. He's holding Mark hostage in his service, and he kind of has a love-hate relationship with Mark, where he gives, Mark is in his service as his avatar, but Mark is also bound to him and is required to do certain things. He gets, Mark is, he's granted great power as the Moon Knight, but he doesn't, there's certain aspects of being a superhero that kind of suck, and, Mark is living that. So that's yeah. And I think that they did a good job at playing that out on screen, so that was really cool. Then we have a side character who plays kind of a big part in the plot of everything, but Antonia Salib, who plays Taweret, who is the hippo god, the hippo goddess everybody's probably already heard about. But I do want to say that Antonia Salib, this is her only credit. She's never acted, written, produced anything. This is the first time. She walked in off the street, and honestly, she did some great voice acting. The character is very interesting, and it has more of an impact in the latter half of the show. And it would be cool to see, more of this character moving forward. At the same time, like I said, some of the stuff with Taweret overshadows actually Moon Knight himself, which is something of a big complaint for a lot of people. Okay, so those are the characters. I think that overall the acting and everything was actually, the acting and the characters were pretty cool. The inclusion of some of the stuff with Taweret and Layla, I just was like, come on, let that be in season 2. But anyway, I thought that they themselves were good. They were just implemented in a weird way. The acting was great, though. The acting was great. Moon Knight, there should have been more of him. He looked really good. He was a really cool character. I just wish I would have gotten to see him more. Basically, think of like a supernatural Batman, where he has powers from an Egyptian god, so it's kind of cool. Okay, moving into the miscellaneous section, we have some pretty cool time jumps where you see there's like scenes where the screen flickers and then, Steven turns, becomes Mark, and then it becomes the Moon Knight. And so as the personalities in Steven's head kind of fight for control, they have these cool scenes, and in the beginning it kind of sets it up really cool with certain things going on. And that's where I said you're trying to understand, like, sees episode 1 and 2, you're like, what is this thing going on, what is happening, where has the time gone? And then in episode 3 you're kind of full swing and understanding what's happening. They explain a thing called the Ennead in this, and this is through a meeting. There is a meeting of the Ennead in I think it was episode 3. Yeah. Basically, this is a group of Egyptian gods. They kind of observe the world and try to keep balance, try to stop evil things from happening from other Egyptian gods and supernatural forces. But they can only influence the world. There's some rules here. They can only influence the world through the actions of their avatars. They themselves cannot use their awesome godlike powers to inflict, any will on the world without getting punishment from the Ennead. So there's some conflict that comes of that, and it was really cool to see. I think they built it up really nice, and moving forward into the larger, the MCU, on its larger scale, it'd be cool to see some of this. Especially with, if you know of the council, what was it called? The Council of the First Fathers. In the comic books, to fight Thanos, which is already done and everything, they call the Sky Fathers. That's what it is. The Council of Sky Fathers, or they called themselves the Sky Fathers, and it's like Odin and Ra and Zeus and some of these other gods. It'd be really cool to see them continue on, bringing in like Hercules, Moon Knight now, just a couple of the other pantheons. It'd be really awesome to see. So I'm very excited about this, and it's good to see them do this kind of in what I would consider to be the right way. They do have some really good practical effects. They have some really good CGI too, but they have some really good practical effects, which I just want to give a shout out to, because that's a big deal now. They're doing less and less of that, but it's really good. They have some interesting historical tie-ins. I don't want to get into it because of spoilers, but it's really cool. If you like history, you're going to and you like, Egyptian mythology, or just mythology in general, you're going to look at this and go, wow, this is actually pretty cool. This has got something for me here. Again, pretty cool exploration of Egyptian mythology, and if you're at all interested in that, some things I didn't know, and then I looked them up after the show, and it's pretty accurate for the most part. Getting into kind of the psychological trauma and some of the supernatural things going on here, there's kind of a question of what is real and what is not real, and I'm talking in a weird voice to show you how ethereal and otherworldly this whole thing is. But yeah, like, what is real and what is not? That's kind of, it's mysterious, one of those types of shows. There are some very well-made memory sequences dealing with the trauma between Mark and Steven and that whole situation, and I thought that was done really well. It's almost like Inception-like, though, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You gotta check I would say it's definitely worth watching just for that. Some great cinematography. They do have, just great cinematography. Not a whole lot to specifically say about it, just it's really good. It's shot really well, and I was really satisfied with how this whole thing was made and put together. It was made and put together really well. I'm going to get into some bad stuff here with the writing, but so there is a big CGI monster battle, so if you want to see some of that, we do get some of that. I just wish that there was more Moon Knight. Come on, give me some Moon Knight. There is a scene where, now this is getting into some odd stuff with the writing. There is a scene in which Harrow, who is the bad guy, is asked by the Ennead if he is trying to resurrect the evil god. This evil god. Now, we, the audience, know that he is trying to do this, but he denies it. And my question is, why do the gods believe him? They let him go. They believe him and let him go. Why wouldn't, like, if you're an Egyptian god, wouldn't you be able to see, like, investigate this, do something? There are also some other instances where I was quite confused by the way that they're kind of involving Harrow in like telling him certain things, giving him kind of favor here, and it doesn't make any sense. I was like, that's kind of weird writing. There are some times when the characters take too long to do a thing or leave a place. So, like, imagine you, the audience, like, the bad guys are coming, and these guys are like, hey, we got to get out of here. But instead of just leaving or doing the thing they got to do so they can leave, they have some stupid argument or being a little bit stupid. That part of the writing, I was like, oh, come on. Like, there's one time in particular I was like, why did you do this? If you would have just done the thing and left, It's kind of like that scary movie syndrome where as the bad guy approaches from behind, you go, come on, turn around, don't you hear him? That kind of stuff happens. And again, I said this with the plot, abrupt resolution of conflicts in episode 6. I think that leading up they could have done 5 episodes and then had season 2 be the resolution of quite a few. I think that the resolutions of the conflicts in this season should have been in a second season of this show. Should have been done in a second season. This one episode, episode 6, had so much stuff packed into it that it could have been its own season here, and that's kind of sad to see that they just blew their load all at once in a way that just was not very satisfying. It is not, yeah, it just was not very satisfying. The bad guys, also, who are normal humans, defeat a group of gods very easily. It's literally like a 10-second sequence that you hear happening, but you don't actually see, and it was shown, and it was off screen, so we don't even see it happened, which is dissatisfying. Like, the action here, you've got to give us a little bit more of the cool stuff that we came here to see if you want us to be satisfied with this. And also, how would a normal group of humans, although Harrow, who is the bad, he has some powers, how is he able to defeat full-blown ancient Egyptian gods? That doesn't make any sense to me. And then, I know I'm going a little bit quick here, but that's because I'm by myself today. I'm not like cross-examining this with anybody else, but my last point is they do a season 2 setup, but no season 2 is actually planned. So that setup that they do has to have a season 2. Otherwise, it was a waste, and they don't even have a season 2 plan. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. Moving into my final statement and review score, I think that this show is the best Disney Plus show that we've gotten as a whole. But I can't even, I think that this was better than WandaVision, but I would still rate WandaVision better, and I'll explain that here in saying that this show has some really great character studies, some really great characters, although the problems with some of them being a little overshadowed and not being able to do some of the things that you kind of show up to a show about this and expect them to do. They have some really great characters, some really great acting, really great just everything put together really well, the CGI, the monster battles, the practical effects, everything. All the bells and whistles, all there. Except, and even the writing is good because they have these twists and turns and mysteries and things that really draw you in. But then they end it all, like the conflict, it's almost like they really were focusing on the journey to this point. And then the lead up to it took so much time that they couldn't give us that payoff. And they really, really needed to stick the landing to make this thing work. And I don't think that they had the possibility of doing that without doing the resolution of all the conflicts in 5 episodes of a second season. So, I do have to rate this one overall as average. Like painfully average, like low average. It's not below average. It's one of those averages where it's like it has all of this great stuff, but all this great stuff doesn't work unless you stick the landing in an appropriate finale, and the finale was just rushed, and it was very dissatisfying. So while I do recommend that you go see this, and I do hope to see the character in future, like even movies and series and everything, I have to say that this one, kind of epitomizes what is going on with the Disney Plus series right now, where they'll even have some good elements, but they just cannot make it work. So, that's all I've got today, guys. I do want to thank you all for watching and just say to you, God bless you all, and have a good day.